us today is Darren Hazelwood, of course, the CEO of Panther Metals. Darren, good to be speaking to you. How are things?
Yeah, no, great to be on, Mark. It's been a little while.
Yeah, a little while, I guess, because a few things have been going on in the background. Of course, there was the placing you did, and then there was the wrap offer. But the most recent big news was, of course, on Winston and that Pick Lake option, which, well, from reading that RNS, it was almost a little bit disappointing, a little bit sad, maybe, that you're not actually able to take full advantage or ownership of the entire scope of that project that you were really happy about. And instead, it's sort of limited, at least for now, to the tailings. So I don't know if you want to make a comment on that, just explain why that's come about and how you're feeling about it.
Look, there's something here that you have to remember. We have the Winston mine site and we have the tailings. The Pick Lake option is outside of the boundary of the brownfield mine site that has all the infrastructure on it. The tailings themselves, they are our immediate focus and always were going to be. The Pick Lake deposit itself is a beautiful tie-in to those tailings. One naturally leads to the other. Now, you've got to remember the Pick Lake deposit. The reason that's never been developed, even though it's the highest grade zinc deposit in North America, is it's relatively small. So as a standalone entity, it would not garner the investment that's required to take it forward just on its own. And you could never make it viable by building a whole new mine site. Now, there is a lot of exploration upside in the wider area, and we're very positive on that potential. However, on its own, it's quite isolated in reality. Mm-hmm. We have and control that mine site. We have the tailings that we're always going to work on. The pick stuff was always going to be 2, 3, 4 years down the line. Now, even if that option on the pick deposit gets picked up by somebody else, they still require the mine site. We're still going to have that mine site. We're in a beautiful position. Mm-hmm. What shareholders haven't faced is any dilution to bring that mine site, to bring the pick deposit in at this point. So our near-term focus was always the tailings. Now, the tailings themselves, from the work we've done, from the internal numbers we've crunched earlier on this year, our numbers come in as contain circa $700 million worth of commodity. You have to bear in mind the metallurgical work needs to be done, and you never recover 100% of anything. However, that's from a very limited sampling program that contained a lot of organic matter on the surface. So we now go and we get our MRE on the tailings. And to do that, we've limited the amount of dilution that's been undertaken. So we're actually in a really strong position because we process and we move forward with these tailings. People have still got to knock at our door if they go and pick up the pick option. And we haven't done that. We haven't diluted. And people, I think there's been a little bit of confusion in the market as well, that it's the Winston mine site that has all the infrastructure that we have over the next 4 years and that we're developing. And we're going, there'll be news on that shortly. It's an extremely powerful position. Anybody that looks at the Pick Lake deposit has to come and knock on our door now.
Okay. So just a quick one. You're not trying to put I mean, ideally, I guess you would have wanted to have acquired everything and got the capital. You're not just trying to put a nice spin on it, are you?
No. There's nothing to spin there, Mark. And you know, but frankly, I think that's a really silly comment because that's the reality. Now, the smart people see that. I've already had people in contact with me. The smart people have already seen that. And they know the situation on the site because they've followed the news flow. They've actually understand what we still have. And we have the mine site. We have the tailings. We believe strongly that we will increase what's in those tailings. Obviously, you still got to go and network and find out what you can actually recover. But would we have liked the pick deposit in? Of course we would have. Because it completes the circle at the very beginning. Mm-hmm. However, just because that circle isn't complete, it doesn't remove from the fact that our near-term the next 2, 3, 4 years was all about the tailings anyways.
Sure, yeah,
So
okay.
£50,000, we've bought those tailings into this business.
Yeah, okay.
That's ridiculous.
So just because a circle's not complete now doesn't mean it can't complete later, indeed. Okay,
Well, you said that, not me, but I'm not speculating.
Okay. So let's just focus on the tailings then, where that in situ near-term value is. How are you going to realise that? I know you're working on MRE, but just try and give investors a bit of a sense of where the work's going to go, where the value is going to come from.
Yeah, no, we'll have news on this in the very short term now. Now that all of this is out of the way, the focus is totally on the tailings, and we would be looking to get the guys on site in the very near term. They'll do the work, the drilling that's required to take us to an MRE.
Okay, and that's the next big milestone, the MRE. It's
the next big milestone in relation to the tailings, absolutely.
Yeah.
And as I say, this will not be a long process, and yeah, news is very imminent.
Good.
Previously, I've said imminent. Now it's very imminent.
Yeah, well,
because we've look, the realities are. You mentioned the placing. We've got the funds in place now to move ahead.
Okay. Good. Well, the MRE we can look forward to. Of course, it's the first look at what is in the ground in situ value. Just thinking a little bit further ahead, are you beholden to what you're working on with Fulcrum Metals on actually the process of extracting that, or are you looking a bit further ahead when you get to that point where you might have to consider processing these tailings?
Oh, no, absolutely. Look, we are working with the same company at Fulcrum are, Extract in the background. And what we'll do, we'll run a traditional process in parallel with the extract process, just to make sure that the results are what we expect. And once we get those results through, that will tell us the metallurgical returns, and then we can start moving towards financing and production.
Okay, good. I'm glad you're going to do both angles. That's really good. So just finally, Darren, again, just to give something people to grab hold of, next 2 months we're nearly at Christmas. I know we'll hopefully do our Christmas podcast that we do every year.
Yes, I won't forget my hat, Mark.
Indeed. But are you going to be going on site? What's going to be happening in the next 2 months, just roughly?
Oh, look, let's follow the news flow. But the plans are I'll be in Toronto the week after next. I would expect the site work to be very much in process. I can't. We're close to it, but look, we have to actually sign contracts, etc. Now, we buy the capital from the placing to get those contracts in order and to do what we need to do. But no, look, I understand people's disappointment. There is nobody more disappointed than me in not bringing the PIC deposit in. However, that PIC deposit has been there for many, many, many years. That's not going anywhere. Anybody that wants to mine it, remember the adit comes from to that deposit comes from the Winston mine site itself. That goes to the PIC deposit. We have the Winston mine site. We have the tailings. It was always our near-term priority. Nothing's changed. Good.
Well, Darren Hazelwood, thank you very much for your time, CEO of Panther Metals.
Thanks, Mark.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.